Hey YouTube, how's it going? I am going to be doing something a little bit different today and be giving you a double review of the Asmus Toys 1/6 scale King Theoden and Eomer of Rohan. And I figured I would do both of these figures together because I feel like they really do belong together. In your Lord of the Rings display representing Rohan. And there's a lot of similarities in how they're built because while their armors are different, they are both Rohan armors, and their art direction was very similar in the movies, and one sort of had to grow on the other. So, now that said, I have both of their boxes. I already taken them out and got them how I want them to be in display. Their boxes are now in my storage with the accessories that I'm not using in display. So there might be a couple of things that I'm going to talk about in this review, such as King Theoden's magnetic removable hairpiece that I won't exactly show, but I will show how it works. So speaking of which, I'm going to move Eomer off to the side and get Theoden in plain view. And I'm going to start this off by just doing a quick top to bottom of King Theoden because my goodness, he looks absolutely regal on display. The fine patterning that they got in there on his collar to all the myriad designs of his armor, that is just a beautiful helmet. Beautiful design work going throughout the armor, and it's all hard, it's solid, it's put in there, it's sculpted in there, and it's just lovely. The little straps on the van braces, those are plastic, not that you'd necessarily be able to tell while he's on display. There's his shield, there's his sword, Herugrim, fine bit of detail work put into there. And going all the way down, he has his belt. Asmus went with their rubber design belts, which I feel like they are more leaning towards recently. This is held on by a little separate rubber piece that you can see in there, and it's soft plastic. It'll get out of the way, but it is just sculpted on there. You can see his under tunic going down to his boots, those shin guards, again keeping with the theme, the fine sculpted detail, and his ankles, which are a two-piece system, so you can get all of the deep stances that you may or may not want to get him into in your display. Let me readjust this camera real quick so I can go hands-free for a moment. Let's talk about that helmet. So he does come with an alternate hairpiece that you can put on instead of the helmet, and all you have to do is move that off. There's no magnet inside of his helmet there. Not that you can really see it because I'm kind of struggling on lighting for that. But with his hair on, you do get more of a full view of that head sculpt. And it is a very, very good head sculpt. Again, older males, the industry seems to get right more often than they get wrong, probably because there's so much detail, such as the wrinkling in the forehead, that they can really just sink into and go crazy with bringing out some of the finer details of a head sculpt to really bring home solid production piece. The eyes are very wet and glossy. Paint is okay. I just don't think there's a lot of shading that they really sunk in. And I know blonde hair is hard for anyone in this industry to really do perfectly. Some companies are doing better than others. Where Asmus really shines is with their rooted hair work that they've done. But the paint work, I mean, they're still behind the tops, like Hot Toys. Their figures are also $50 to $100 cheaper. So, considering that maybe the paintwork's not the best, you're getting this incredible outfit, complete with all this armor, all the detailing in there. I'll take it. Now, turning him around, you can see that there is another Rohan horse logo on his back, and that's not something that I ever even noticed in the movie, so congratulations to Asmus. And there's a magnetic piece at the top of his head for fitting that hair into. Now, I'm never going to actually display him with his hair. He's always going to be wearing his helmet, as I believe he had in Pelennor Fields, the Battle of Pelennor Fields, and perhaps also Helm's Deep, maybe both. That's how I'm going to have him displayed. Girded up and ready for war. I'm going to go over articulation real quick because there is some stuff that is hindered by not really the Asmus body, but more so the design of the armor itself. These shoulder pads are held on by a rubber piece underneath there that connects into the shoulder. It is attached to the upper arm guards, and the upper arm guards are held on by this little rubber strap. And perhaps you've noticed, if you have a keen eye, but I popped the strap on the right arm, just trying to maneuver this guy into some poses. Now, it's on your standard Asmus body without a sculpted neck, so the neck joint is attached to the head, and that just goes into the torso there. So you have your standard, single ball joint for the head, getting all the motion that I could possibly want with that. Not quite as much as if you had a double ball joint, but I prefer not to break the head sculpt at the neck. I much prefer figures that go all the way and just have one solid neck and headpiece. Articulation, again, is your standard Asmus body, so without the hindrance of that strap there. You can get the arm joint all the way up. You heard that click. Now, that seems to be a running thing with a lot of Asmus bodies. Very few have nice, smooth, hard shoulder joints. I feel every time I try to move the shoulder out in front of the figure on these Asmus bodies, I get really hard clicks. So most of the time I limit my articulation going forward with kind of whatever little rock I can get out of the butterfly joint, because I do not like that click, especially with these hard armor pieces. As you can tell, when you try to overdo it, you do risk popping some of the rubber there. Now, luckily this is easy. I can just wrap this back around, and I'm going to stick some glue on the end, stick it on, and I'll dry, and this figure will be good as new. Won't even be able to tell. But there is that. Now, while he is fully armored up, you're probably going to max out getting the arm to about right there. Really not a lot of range forward. It's about the same going back. Elbow joint is good and unrestricted. He can bring that all the way up. It's your standard 6-scale wrist, and it doesn't really, that greave doesn't really get in the way. Fan brace? I don't know. It doesn't get in the way really too much, but I'm probably just going to keep him right about like that on display. Shield raised about mid-high, utilizing that double jointed elbow right there. Not a very wide stance. Asmus bodies do use single jointed knees. Again, the standard caustic plastic 01 body. So not a lot of deep stances going on. Let's see if I can get the camera situated to get a better look at what's going on down low. There we go. The Asmus, single jointed knees. And he's got a lot of armor down here. So I can get that leg all the way up actually to about 90 degrees at the waist. I get a bend right there. The ankles, like I said, it's a two-piece system, so I can rotate those all I want. But while Theoden was kind of a warrior king, I'm not getting any real deep stances with the legs. And I'm curious, because he is a horse lord, how well this body would sit atop a standard 6-scale horse from ACI or whatnot. Maybe I'll have to pick one up, because I do think he would look great on a horse, him and Eomer, actually, especially because I think almost every bit of fighting they did in the movies, they did from horseback, as is appropriate for Rohirrim. So I'll have to try that out sometime, maybe. But anyways, I'm going to put Theoden off to the side. You have seen him. And we are going to get Eomer. Now, if any character in my collection were going to need a horse for proper display, I do think it would need to be Eomer. Let me go get his spear real fast. There we go. Okay, he comes with this excessively long spear that I can hardly even get to fit in my light box. So here is the tip of it, and here's the very long shaft. Oop. This just plugs into there, and it'll fit just fine into his hand. That was worth mentioning, and now it'll go off to the side. Eomer, his armor is very similar in design to King Theoden's. However, there's a lot less gems in set, a lot less gold and more silver. Eomer does become the king of Rohan, but for the vast portion of the movies, he is the heir and a rider of Rohan, leading the riders of Rohan in battle at Helm's Deep and Pelennor Fields, and just about everywhere else. He is their leader. So again, similar horse designs going through, almost identical in how the shoulder pads are all set up. But the main differences come in he does not have the waist plates hanging down as King Theoden did, and he has instead this chainmail fabric material, but it is just a chainmail running through out his entire outfit. Very similar hard, soft plastic skirt for the coat of plates sort of thing that he has going on here. And if we go down here, he has, again, the shin guards and a cut at his boot to allow for lots and lots of articulation. The biggest difference is in the helmet of this character and how it's put on. So if I rotate him around, you can see that he has rooted hair. And with the rooted hair, he also has this rooted tassel coming off the back of his helmet, as he did in the movie. I think it's supposed to look like a horsetail. That was their motif. But the helmet, you don't have to take the hair off or anything to put the helmet on. It just slides over the top, and that is that. The helmet, while it looks good and like metal, is not a metal piece. And you actually have to strap it up at this buckle using real leather, just like a real helmet. And it goes just underneath the chin there. So I've got that all strapped up, and I don't want to take it back off because it is kind of a pain in the bum. But maybe I could just slide the whole thing off without mucking up. The strap is going to get caught on his nose, so I'm just going to push that back down. There we go. Yeah. Nope, I've already committed. I'm taking it off. There. Ugly. There. Okay. So there's his hair. The rooting job was pretty good. It usually is with Asmus, but, it's not how I'm going to keep him displayed. It's tied off back there in a ponytail, much like it was in the movie. It's messy. The sculpt itself is very good. But once I put that helmet on and cover up sort of some of the seams from that rooted hair where it connects to the forehead, that's when you just get this masterful sculpt. And when the shadows drop on it from the helmet, it just looks one for one with the actor. That looks very good. The detailing in the helmet is very nice, etched in there. His sword is very similar to King Theoden's in terms of its design. It's just this little one-handed, sort of northerner, Viking-inspired type of sword with the horse design on it. Slides right back there into the scabbard, no problem. And that's kind of that. Just going to sit back in there until you're ready to take it back out and display it with the sword instead of the spear. And he will have the sword in my display because that spear takes up a ton of room and it's going to hit the ceiling of the display above him. For now at least, until I figure out some way to get a horse for him to ride on and fit that in maybe somewhere into my display cabinet. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is get Theoden back out here and show them off side by side just one more time before I end the video. Here we go. There. Like I said, these two figures, they look great in a display on their own. They're both quite essential to the Lord of the Rings story, but when you get them together, oh, that is magic. Representatives of the Rohirrim in your 6-scale Lord of the Rings display, and they just look great together. King Theoden and the ever-loyal Eomer, who will inherit the title, but after the series. As far as what hands they come with, they all come with the same standard Lord of the Rings, Asmus, gloved hand sculpts, gripping, fisted, and, relaxed open. Nothing special there. The sculpts are exactly the same for all of their gloved characters. And they're the same here, so it's not really worth showing off. But what is worth showing off is the two of these side by side, ready to defend the realms of men from the evils of Sauron. All right, if there's anything that I really left out that you would like to see me talk about in regards to these figures, please let me know, or you can get a dialogue started down in the comments. Otherwise, thank you for tuning into my review. Stay happy, stay healthy, and stay in the pursuit of knowledge. Thank you. Bye-bye.